Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Perspective with me, Julie Ali. And it is that time of year when we shine the spotlight on GBV issues. And sad to say that we need to be having these discussions. I was hoping and praying that by now, with us creating awareness around GBV, that we'd be more conscientized about GBV, and the men in our lives, the men in our country, sought the necessary help, heal themselves, and let our sisters, our daughters, our mothers really live in peace and harmony. Sadly, we're living in a very broken world, and I think for as long as we are around, as long as our children and our children's children are around, these are the type of societal issues we will be dealing with. So a big thank you and shout out goes to the 1000 Women Trust. Their head office is based in the Western Cape, and they do have offices throughout the country. They, of course, worked hard at getting us two amazing survivors, a social worker and a counselor, to come in to share their stories and to once again highlight the scourge of GBV in our country, and I should imagine globally as well. So let me just tell you a little bit about the 1000 Women Trust, and then we'll introduce our guests to you on the show this morning. Across South Africa, the 1000 Trust stands, the 1000 Women Trust stands at the forefront of uplifting victims of GBV. They work very, very hard throughout the year in preparation for this time of the year when we talk about GBV, and there's so much of awareness and campaigns that happen. But they're not only busy doing that, they upskill and develop as many women, men and children that they possibly can to become upstanding people in our communities, in our society, and to make our roads, our homes, our communities a safer place to be in. So a very heartfelt thank you to you, the 1000 Women Trust. You guys are doing amazing work, and may you continue to be blessed to continue your work. So welcome to my two guests in studio this morning, and that's you, Valeska, and Conny. A very good morning to you. Welcome, and with the deepest of gratitude and respect, I'm going to be having this conversation with you. And also a disclaimer that you've given me permission to share your stories. Yes. Thank you very, very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Valeska, you are a rape survivor, and you carried your trauma in silence for many, many years, till you decided it's time that I took back my power. Conny, I was very, very pleased to hear your story. Here I thought I was meeting a qualified counselor, and she's just going to talk about how she helps people, you know, get onto the road of survival. But I understand you too were a victim of GBV. But we'll talk about all of that. We'll unpack the horrors of gender-based violence, but we'll also talk about how victorious you can be under these circumstances. Valeska, lovely to have you here. I'm so pleased you're sharing your story with us.
Thank you
How
for having
did
me.
your story start?
Okay, so my story started when I was in high school. I was doing matric in 2012, and I became a victim of rape by one of the very people that I trusted. He was my gym instructor. I was doing powerlifting, so he was my very close, trusted person. So when the rape happened, I don't know, I still can't explain it. It was a very painful period that I went through. I had no one to talk to because, I mean, growing up, I grew up in a village. It was a safe village. You know, you could send a child there and they'd come back safe. You know, there was nothing to really worry about. And I thought coming to Pretoria would be the same. You know, I had nothing to fear. I grew up being a happy child. I never had struggles relating to people or anything like that. And so when it happened to me, that child, that happy child, was
so sorry.
I don't know, but I like disappeared.
Absolutely.
Like ashes with the strong wind. I was shut down for many years, and I changed. Absolutely everything about me changed, from the way I was speaking and addressing people, my clothing, you know, everything about me changed.
Oftentimes, and with the greatest and deepest respect to both of you and all of our survivors out there, I ask this question out of the deepest of respect.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, there's so much of misinformation in the public space that you hear people saying things like, it's her fault. She encouraged me. She lured me. She was flirting with me.
Yeah.
It's the way she dresses.
Yeah.
She gave me mixed signals. Do you think that those type of accusations were perhaps leveled at you after the rape happened? And did you question yourself as well? Kind of say, did I give this man the wrong signals? And that is why he has raped me.
Okay, you are absolutely right. And these are not one, but it's quite a lot of, there's a long list to it. But these are the very barriers that keep people shut after experiencing such pain. Because now you are suddenly overwhelmingly ashamed. And there's this guilt that comes from nowhere that just covers you. You would blame yourself endlessly. You'd not even feel sorry for yourself at that time. You'd lash out on yourself. Why did you even agree to go with him? Why did you say yes to that coffee that he offered? Do you understand? It's so deep. You even blame yourself for things that, why did he offered me a sweet? Why did I have to take the sweet? Did that say something to him? Is that why he did this to me? You know, but then honestly, those are the very things that would shut you up for years and years without coming out.
After the rape happened, how did you pick yourself up from that situation, wherever it was, and make your way home? And what was going through your mind? Did you think that you need to talk to an adult? Did you think that you needed perhaps to go to a doctor or to a hospital? And also, you were a young girl.
Yes.
Were you afraid, am I going to be pregnant now after this rape?
Okay. I was in matric. I had exams waiting for me. It happened towards the end of the year, so I was numb during the period when it happened. I was numb. I was numb throughout. After, I was numb. I went home. I took a very long bath. I was numb throughout.
I think that was your own physical, mental, emotional reaction to what you had, the trauma you had just experienced. And that was your survival mode that had kicked in.
Yeah. So I was into this numb. I just told myself, you know what? I didn't even tell myself. It just happened that I don't want to think about this. I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to experience. I don't want to relive it in my mind. Okay. So now I need to focus. I need to write my exams, but I'll have those flashbacks because it doesn't just stop by saying, no, I don't want to think about it.
You tried to block out as much as you possibly could.
Yes.
But were you worried that you're going to go back to school in the coming days and you're going to face this perpetrator of yours? And did you have thoughts about what you're going to say to him, how you're going to react to him? Was that all going through your mind?
Absolutely. And all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So now we're going to need to understand how you dealt with it, but let's take a break. When we come back, we will continue this discussion.
No problem.
GBV is what we're covering on the show this morning. Absolutely traumatic stories that we will be hearing from our two guests. And let us be sensitive to people in our own homes, our own communities that have undergone or who are survivors of GBV in whatever form. It might be physical, mental, or even emotional violence against these young girls, women, and even children. The sad reality is the sickening situation is even perpetrated on young children, boys and girls. But we will be back with you in a minute or two to highlight more issues on GBV. Welcome back. We are talking with two amazing women. They are both victims of GBV. They're sharing their stories with us this morning on Hilaal TV. And I do hope and pray by way of these stories that we do become more aware of the monsters out there in our communities, in our very own families, unfortunately. And by way of hearing these stories, we hope and pray that we make our girl and boy children more aware of the dangers lurking out there. That's not to say everyone is a boogeyman, but we do need to be aware, and we do need to make our children street savvy. Conny, Molomo, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having us into the program.
You are a qualified counselor.
Yes, ma'am.
And coincidentally, you happen to be the person who counseled Valeska
Yes.
when she was in a very traumatic frame of mind. How did the meeting happen between the two of you?
Okay. What happened, we have ladies who come together, and they started in church. And we'll gather these ladies because of, in church we don't talk there. We come dressed well. We come to say we are here to worship. And we go back home again, still having the same things that we thought we are carrying them in church. And that's basically what happened. And the light was spot on those girls. It's when we started to say, okay, fine, maybe we need to have a girls' talk. That's how we started to have a girls' talk. And while we were talking, and we decided, no, we needed to go further, to make it a ministry. We call it's the seat, a ministry. And that's when I met the 1,000 women now. I started to do the training with them. And to be surprising, many girls that came through that day, most of them, they were touched, raped, molested, beaten when they were young. So they were carrying a lot of emotional baggage, and I needed also myself also to be empowered on how to help them. That is why I started to take the courses so that I can do it properly. That's when I met Valeska. She was one of those that we invited.
So you were at church and you decided that the girls and the women at the church probably need a safe space to share their stories. What made you decide that you needed to create a safe space?
Okay, what happened personally for my journey, because when I was 8 going to 9, I was molested at home by my uncle. He was the relative who came and lived with us. And nobody knew, and I was a happy child. So you will not even see the signs, as Valeska was saying, your mind blocks it, and you don't want to revisit it. I mean, how do you tell a parent what happened to you at that age, and how do you explain what happened? The first thing that you are thinking, they're going to give me a hiding. How do you explain this person has done that? And it happened for a long time. And when I started to...
So your rape
yes,
was a repeated thing in your life. For
yes.
how long did it go on?
I will just, if I could calculate, maybe a year. Because after that year, I had to move to Mamelodi now. I was staying with my grandmother, and he came to visit us, so he was staying there. So I could calculate, it was more or less a year.
I'm trying to understand you in this home with your grandmother and possibly other family members as well. How did the perpetrator, how did he manage to lure you into a corner, a quiet corner, and then continue abusing you all of the time? And why did you keep going back every time he lured you to that area? What was he perhaps threatening you? Or did you feel it was your fault? Did you feel that because it happened the first time, you've got to keep going back?
No, he didn't threaten me per se, ne? But then there were words that he used, you know, that I will tell your mom, you know, what you are doing. And remember, you are just a small child. You don't even have a vocabulary to say what is happening. I mean, how do I explain to my grandmother? And normally it happens when there is no one at home. Because of he was an elder, you know, my grandmother will work and around 8 o'clock she comes back home. Then it will happen before she comes back. And I didn't have words to explain what was happening, but I knew it was wrong because of it was hurtful and it brought so much shame, you know. When I look at him, there was something changed the way I look at him. So it's not like normally people, they say, why did you? You don't have an explanation, especially when it comes to trauma. You know, you could ask, maybe I'll just give an example. Maybe you ask to say, why did you go back to your husband whom you know that is beating you? You know, only a person who went through that or a counselor will understand. That is why in counseling, we don't use the word why, because of now you have to defend yourself. Why are you doing that? And it's something that happens automatically. You don't have power over it because it comes with fear. It comes with what they are saying to you. It comes with how you look at yourself now. It comes with, you know, you have a different perspective of life after the trauma has happened to you. It could be death, it could be divorce, it could be a loss of job, it could be a loss of a child, it could be rape, you know. There is a way that it starts to shape you. The minute that it happens, you know, it starts to shape you. I normally give this example to say, you know, just think of this beautiful house, you know. This wonderful house, and someone just throws a bomb in that house, you know. And the only thing that you can relate with, remember now, if it was bombed, meaning everything is in ashes, you know. The only thing that you can relate with is a handle, you know. You are just going to hold on to that handle because of something that did not change, you know. With me, something that did not change, it was my playful life. The way I was playing, you know, I did it even more because of when I look at home, when I look at that bedroom, I knew it was the place of darkness. I knew it was a place of sadness. I knew it was a place where I didn't want to go back there, but I don't have a choice and I don't have words to say, okay, Granny, this is what is happening. And now the only thing that makes me now to become alive, it's when I'm playing outside, it's when I'm laughing outside. So they used to beat me because of, I'll do it extremely now, because of now avoiding going back home, avoiding that room. So it's not normally per se on what the perpetrator is saying, but on what you are saying to yourself, on what that trauma has done to you.
How did you understand what was going through, or what was going you know, what was happening to you, and you were merely 8 years old. At that time, you couldn't understand or process what was going on. When did the realization hit you that I was abused, repeatedly raped, I was threatened, and my life might never be the same again?
I think when it happened again. When I was 17 years old now, 16 going to 17. We were coming from school, and me and my friends, you know, we were just walking. And now these boys, they started to chase us. Then we ran, and unfortunately I ran to the wrong house, you know. Unfortunately, when I knock and that guy says, what's wrong? I said, there are guys who are chasing us. And he says, no, come in. Then when I came in, and there was, in our township, it's a garage. Then they have turned it into a bedroom. You know, he said, hide there. You know, not knowing, you know, and then I just went there. Then it's when they locked the door. And he asked his friend to pin me down, you know, and he just raped me after that. And he said to his friend, go. And his friend says, no. Just put my dress and just put it, and took my school bag, and he held me. And him holding me, then I knew that something was wrong. And for him not to participate, it says a lot of things to me, and when I came out, I knew that, no, something was done. And I remember it was done again when I was 8 years old. Then now I started to do the research to say, what was it?
So you were raped when you were 8, continuously for about a year.
Yes.
And you blocked it out of your mind. You became an even more playful child.
Yes.
And tried to not go back into the house and tried to play outside for a long time just to avoid that situation, that room, that bed. And then it happens to you again at the age of 17. That must have been very, very traumatic. And I want to hear about what you did next to start healing yourself, not to point fingers at anybody, and how then you pick up the pieces to move on. And is that in fact possible? But we will look at all of those issues right after the break.
Okay,
Two very brave ladies in studio with me, Valeska and Conny, and they both have turned their lives around in a very, very positive way, because they've then embarked on studies which is enabling them to heal other people, not only themselves but other people as well. And of course they both connected to the 1000 Women Trust, who are doing amazing work in healing, helping and uplifting men, women, girls and boys. It's not only about women, it's about society at large. So a big thank you to you, the 1000 Women Trust. Welcome back. My guests are two amazing young ladies. Conny Molomo, who is a registered counsellor, a qualified counsellor, and Valeska, who is a social worker. They're both here sharing their stories of GBV, and of course they both are involved in one way or the other with the 1000 Women Trust. But I need to make a comment about a little discussion we had off air, and I'm going to ask both ladies then to respond to it. Conny, who is a counsellor, asked me how I feel about hearing their stories of abuse. You know, she said, how are you feeling hearing all of this? Well, this is my response. Absolutely outrage at the perpetrators. I think if they were in my presence right now, I'm so outraged, I think I would have taken any weapon in the immediate vicinity to hurt them, to cause as much pain on them as they've caused these women. But then, in the same light, I look at these two very strong women who are so strong, who've turned their lives around and are strong enough to come here on TV to share their stories with us. And why are they doing that? Why are you sharing a very personal story with us?
Okay. The reason why we are sharing, you know, is to tell someone who's sitting at home to say there is a way out. You can come out. You know, it's not the end, you know. I normally, people will say, you know, when life gives you lemons, you know, make lemonade, you know. And it's not an easy thing, you know. As you have mentioned, to say, if the perpetrator were here, you will do, you know, harm to them, but you are doing the physical harm, you know. But then it's the problem is there within them. You can beat them, you know, do whatever that you can do to them, but then if it's not within them, you know, that is why you'll find them going to court, being sentenced, coming out, doing the very same thing, you understand? So it's because of the thing is within your spirit. And once we can come into that, that is why we are reaching out to ladies to say, you know, or a man out there, because of I have clients who are men, you know, who went through this traumatic situation, who are sitting there and saying, there's no hope. Just want to tell them there is hope, you know, and there is a way out.
And people who say there's no hope, Valeska, I think those are the people who still are continuing to blame themselves for what has happened. They're kind of saying that I must have done something wrong
Yeah.
for this to have happened to me. How did you turn that around?
Well, I think light dawned onto me on my first day of counseling. And because I've never actually said a word about this whole situation.
How long did you keep the situation, the trauma, how long did you keep it quiet?
8 years straight.
And you suffered in silence for 8 years?
Yes.
Why did you decide to go to counseling?
Well, so during the session, when they were talking about their testimonies of what had happened to them, I could relate to many other women who were sharing their stories.
This was at the church with Conny
Yes,
as well?
That's
Okay.
when that happened. So they would, I believe, identify those who were maybe intensely touched by the topic, and then they just reached out, you know, hi, are you well? I saw you were not okay during the session. These are our numbers. If you want to talk, come back to us, or, you know, we'll reach out to you. If you want us to come to you, we'll come to you, whatever is, you're comfortable with. And then, but then on that particular day, what happened to me is that on the day of the session, I mean, they said this one phrase, and that's what unlocked everything in me. It's not your fault.
Wow.
When they said that, I don't know, but something broke inside of me. Something, it was like a well of waters, fresh waters. And it said to me, it's okay, you are safe. And now we started working on the emotions.
Yes.
What are you going through? What happened? Do you want to talk about it step by step? And I think just doing it by that pace, my pace, it had no pressure, no program, nothing was directing it. But then as I give directive, okay, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to talk about, this is the pockets I want us to reach down into. I'm not done talking about this one, so let's talk about this one. And I think that really quickly reached down to the parts where I felt really broken and insignificant, if I may put it like that.
What about future relationships? Were you ever worried about the fact that your trauma might impact on a future relationship, and maybe you won't be comfortable enough to be in a loving relationship?
Well, it wasn't that close to like an intimate relationship per se, because after the incident, I turned into a girl that you would not say this is a well-raised girl, because I became ratchet. I wanted so bad to take my power and say, you know what, this is going to happen, but by my terms. With the person that I want, and I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it, because, you know, coming from a religious background, you were raised well. You are raised to keep your virginity, to be a good girl, you know, behave well, do this, do that. But then the system failed me. I was like, no, I've been doing that all my life. And when I'm in matric, I'm such a grown-up girl. Then what happened, you know? And then I felt, no, it didn't work, so I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I want to do. And I spiraled out of control. I was everywhere with every boy to find whatever I wanted. I was like, this one will do for me, then yes. That guy, nah, no. But I'll go for that one. And it, oh my goodness.
Didn't you think that you were on a path of self-destruction by being such a big party girl?
At that time, no.
No.
It doesn't even come to you. It doesn't. That like there's nothing that calls you off.
So when and how did the turning point come? Because you're a very together person, very grounded.
Yeah.
And added to that, you've gone on to become a qualified social worker.
Yeah. Okay, when I fell pregnant with my first daughter. I wasn't in a, let me just say, a loving relationship, but I was in a relationship, and I fell pregnant. When I fell pregnant, everything in me shut down at that point. I think that's when now I got to feel everything around me. You went through the situation, you did not address it. See what you did to yourself. Do you see where you've gotten yourself to? Do you want to deal with this? No, but then I have, on top of that, to deal with the shame of being pregnant out of wedlock. Do you understand? So there's a whole lot of values that surrounded me, and I would have loved to live according to those values and respect them as a young woman, and, you know, do things, I don't want to say by the book, but do things the way I was taught how it should be done, in a good way, you know? But then I felt like, no, this is not worth it. And no, it's not worth it. I know. But then at that time when I fell pregnant, it kind of like brought me back. Yes. This is where we stop. Can we correct this? Let's go back.
So it started grounding you. Yeah. Okay. Conny, let's get back to you. At 17, you were raped. All the past trauma came back to you. How and when did you start thinking about taking back your life? Okay. We've spoken about Valeska, then the pregnancy seemed to have grounded her, and then she went on a path where she has qualified as a social worker. You went on the path of counseling. How did your life then start taking the road to healing and finding yourself and doing amazing work as a counselor?
Okay. It happened when I met this woman in church. Her name is Mam Morini, and somehow she just saw how broken I was, because I was just doing a research, and doing that research I was getting so much information, but I didn't know what to do with it and how to deal, especially with the anger that was within me, to say what happened to me, it was wrong. And she met, you know, she just called me and said, can I be your friend? And I said, yes. And she was doing psychology by then. So, yes, that's when we started. And she said to me one day, and she said, are you fine? And I said, no, I'm not fine. And she said, what's wrong? And I said, no, I'm doing this research, you know, because you don't want people to know about your story, you know. You just want to hide it, you know. And I was just saying, I was just doing the story. And she said, I'm wondering what attracted you to that. And I said, it's because of it has happened to me. And she said, okay, fine. Then with this whole material, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to help others. And she said, why do you want to help them? I said, I don't want them to feel the way I have felt. I was alone. I didn't know what to do or who to talk to. And especially, it's a dark place. If I could just put a picture to it, it's just a dark place. So, and I felt like it will be unfair for the next person to fall into that. So my path was, can I be a light, you know? That's how the whole thing I started to find myself.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how you both managed to take back your lives.
Yes.
Amazing guests sharing very personal stories with us, and this all in the name of supporting GBV, and this, of course, also through the 1000 Women Trust. Welcome back. We are going to talk for another 10 or 12 minutes more before we wrap up, but what an interesting story and what amazing young ladies. Conny, back to you.
Yes.
That's where your journey of healing truly began.
Yes.
You decided that you're going to help other people, and you decided to become a counselor.
Yes.
Has it worked out the way you had planned and dreamt about it?
It went even beyond what I have dreamt about, you know. I remember meeting this elderly woman who called me in the side, and she said, thank you, you know. And I understood where she was saying the thank you. She said, you know, I don't have the courage, But seeing you talking about it, the way you're talking about it, and seeing how many young people who were, I think there were more than 30 of them, and out of the 30, 25 went through that. When I'm counting 25, I'm counting even boys. So for me, seeing that, for me, it's a win, you know. For me, it gives me pleasure, you know, to see someone who was once in that dark place. Julie, it's dark. It's a dark place. If I could just paint a picture for you.
I can't even begin to imagine it. May you continue seeing light in your life.
Yes.
Have you ever met your perpetrator thereafter?
Yes.
What did you say to him? And how do you feel about bumping into him again in family circles, family situations?
Julie, while I was doing the research, then my base was on what makes a person to hate another person. So meaning I was studying more about the perpetrators, you know, what makes them to hate. You know, we have this phrase that says, a wounded person will wound others. And that's very true, yeah? Because of he realized that he would not have done that if not something was done to him. And I remember I wrote him a letter because the Lord said to me, you know, now you have to forgive this person. You have to let him go, you know, and he's a policeman by then. And I wrote a letter, and I realized writing it will not give me that closure. Then I went to him and I asked him, can I have a meeting with you? Then he said, and I started to, you know, in deeper details, you know, this is what you have done. While you were doing this, it was hurting me. Now I have a challenge, you know, with my womb and 1, 2, 3. It's because of what you have done, you know. And he was sitting there, he was crying. And he said, I don't know how to say, but I'm sorry. And I didn't think it would go this far. And from there, I realized that he needed help. Then I told him to say, you know, just go and see someone that you can able to talk to. And I hope that you get the help that you need. And I realized while we were talking, you know, while he was crying, I was no longer angry, but I wanted to understand what happened to him. I wanted to be where he was, you know. And I remember after, I think it was after 3 years, then he wrote me an SMS and he said, you know, I didn't grow right, you know. A lot of things were done to me and I don't know how to do things right. I don't know how to act right. And I'm sorry that you were the person that I had to hate. And I said to him, no, you didn't hate me by then. You gave me a light so that I can also liberate you, you know, so that you can also find your way of healing. Otherwise, he was still going to continue, you understand, because of his hating.
So, Conny, what I'm hearing from you is forgiveness actually allows you to move on.
Yes.
You're very happy in the space you are right now.
Very happy, very happy.
In a loving relationship?
Yes.
And children?
No, no children yet.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it'll come. It's all in God's time.
Yes.
What was the forgiveness process like for you, Valeska? When did you decide to open up to your partner? And did you ever meet your perpetrator?
Meeting
After
face
the
to
rape?
face. Yes, after the rape. No, not face to face. But I did bump into him. I never said hi. He didn't say anything. He just looked away and quickly ran off. But I could tell by then, because I was still going through the process of healing, that I was still very mad. I was still angry. And I never got to see him after I actually finished with the sessions. But I know I have released him. I have forgiven him. And yeah, I just let go. I let go, and I just trusted God that He will heal me completely. And I believe seeing him maybe next time, if I do, I would literally just go to him and tell him, if I ever say anything to him, would be, I forgive you. Yeah.
And your relationship, very important part of your healing as well.
Yes.
What did your husband or your partner say to you when you told him that you were abused, you were raped?
He first learned about it when we were doing our marriage counseling. First session when we were, asked if there's anything that we would like to say to each other that we've never said to each other. I saw it as a good opportunity to open up about it. Because I was already, on with the sessions, but then I was doing it privately because he was not aware I was doing the sessions for this particular matter. And I was not sure how he was going to react to it anyway. So when he heard about it, the first thing he just did was grab both my hands.
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed. And to me, that said, you are safe with me.
Yeah.
And I think life was much more beautiful knowing that I'm with a man and I'm safe with him.
You went on to do social work.
Yes.
Why?
So when I went to social work, it's because I wanted to heal.
As well.
Yes. So that was my primary reason. So I had other courses that I would have wanted to do, teaching, this and that, but I quickly ran to this particular one because I'm hurting. I want answers. How do I get rid of this thing? It's irritating. I want to get rid of this. I can't bear it anymore, And I remember having to choose between two modules. I think I had marriage counseling and sexual trauma. I did sexual trauma and I passed it very well because I was reading into those study guides looking for an answer. Maybe if I just read this one phrase, that would just liberate me. That would be fine with me. But then I read it and I still didn't find it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is beyond books. This is beyond sessions. What's going on? And I'm not saying that counseling doesn't help. And I'm not saying, because they did the most, from the beginning to the end. They were with me, holding my hand. But I just want to also say thank God, because he was with me. The emotions, it was a roller coaster. I don't want to lie. It's so painful. You get to feel it all over again. But when you wake up in the morning, you're like, God, thank you.
Yeah.
Connie, when you are in counseling sessions with other rape victims, does it open old wounds for you? Does it bring back horrible memories for you? Or have you healed and are able to offer healing to other people through your counseling?
It does not open because of that wound. It's just closed, But what it does, the empathy to understand where they are, as Valeska, she's mentioning, the roller coaster, you are just thinking, oh my word, she's still going to go through this, and holding them. Some they don't talk. Just by holding you, grabbing you, you will sense fear, you will sense that. So because of our emotions, you'll feel them, but does not open the wound.
I know you're very closely aligned as a counsellor to the 1000 Women Trust.
Yes.
What sort of work are you doing with them?
Okay, now I'm doing facilitation. I'm facilitating the counseling classes. I'm also offering counseling through them. And they are also assisting us, especially in the township, areas where we can't reach, if we need materials, if we need some kind of help right now, what we are planning to do to say, we need extra feet, in the township, and if maybe we can have ladies who are qualified, that's when they come and they offer the training, they are just there. It's just that umbrella that shield you from the rain. That's what 1000 Women they are doing.
Let's talk about very quickly about male victims, male survivors. Is it different, very quickly, because our time is almost up, is it different to counsel them as to counseling a woman of trauma or rape?
Yes, it is difficult because of they don't talk. So they need to trust you first in order to open up. You might have 4 sessions, him coming and crying, without saying a word, or being enraged, you know. So it's different because of ladies, they are, even if they are emotionally, but then they can manage. But with guys, it's different. And lately, I've been dealing with them. It's sad, man.
But it does help.
It does help.
Your final thoughts on being a survivor, very quickly, a minute or two, what would they be? And your message of hope to other survivors out there.
It's possible.
It's not your fault. Believe in yourself.
I just love it's possible, meaning in everything.
And Valeska, what's your final thoughts?
Never stop. Never stop, you know, fighting. I need you to fight until you get out.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in that corner, in that small space, fight until you come out.
There you have it. Two survivors talking about triumphing over being raped, sexually abused. And of course, a big shout out once again to the 1000 Women Trust for the amazing work they're doing, and all other organizations out there that hold your hand through a very traumatic experience. And let's just also know that lots and lots of broken people are walking the streets in our communities, and if you can just give them a smile and a kind word, you will start making a difference. Thank you for watching, and if you do need to reach out, if you do need help, we do have organizations like SADC and the 1000 Women Trust. Till the next time, as always, Khuda Hafiz.